What do you feel was that thing on the inside of you that ultimately helped you shift your thinking, and it in spite of the loss, because that loss is that, and you live with that, for a lifetime.
Absolutely, man. So, and that's a really good question, and I think it's there's multiple layers to that. So when I think my biggest motivation was my dad, because my dad is probably the best father that I can imagine. And when I was arrested, and when he would always spank me to the point where it would probably be considered abuse today. And I don't fault him for that, because that's how he was taught, and that's what he knew. And but I remember coming home, and he came to the precinct and picked me up, and he was crying, and I remember going home thinking I was about to get the worst ass whooping I've ever had in my life.
Right.
And I remember he just hugged me and cried and prayed over me. And it always stuck with me. I'm like, why didn't you spank me? Why you spanked me for so much less? And then it hit, as a 12-year-old, it just hit me. I thought, this was so bad. In his head, this must have been so bad that, this is, no spanking can fix this. In my head, I'm thinking I must have failed so bad that this is beyond repair. So I sought out to prove him wrong. I sought out to no, Dad, trust me. This was just one mishap. Yes, you may think that, your son has become a failure, but I'm going to prove him wrong.
Okay.
So from that moment on, and seeing that look in his eyes of the disappointment and the hurt he must have felt, because he grew up rough in the streets of Kingston. He didn't have a pair of shoes until he was 17. You see what I'm saying? He didn't go to any school or formal education in high school until he was 17 years old. Wow. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, he did all of this to have me over here and raising me the right way. I can't say that I didn't have a father figure, or I had that. Despite where we lived, I had that. So I sought out to show him that, no, I did not turn away from your direction, from your instruction. I wanted to be like the prodigal son who, I remembered everything he taught me. So it's like everything he had been speaking over me and praying over me, it's like now that came to fruition, and I wanted to be that person that he so long been trying to get me to become. So that was the moment for me where I said, you know what, this is my opportunity to finally walk into that step, right? And then, losing a brother, man, and having those big brother figures, a lot of them would say, man, Josiah, this is not you. This is not you. You're doing these things, but bro, like, look how your dad is trying to raise you. I had memorized the I Have a Dream speech at 9 years old, and I was reciting it everywhere in Broward County, from, every single church in the Caribbean community, at the Broward County, Performing Arts Center. And this is the person my dad was trying to mold me to become. And I was just fighting that, wanting to fit in because I had lost my brother.
Wow.
Right? Because I didn't have a big brother, and I missed that. And the big brothers that I was surrounded by just so happened to be the people in the streets.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But when I finally just came and I just found my purpose.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I have this judge telling me this isn't me. I have my friends telling me, man, you could be so much better than us. And I had my dad, who had been in the streets of Kingston until he was 17, raising me the right way. I finally just came to the understanding that, man, I'm going to walk into my purpose.